Okay, today we're going to just cut into steaks, not really breaking down. This is your New York strip loin. It's a whole boneless. And if you go to Sam's Club where I got this one, they're just going to call it a beef loin whole. So that's what it actually is. So without further ado, we're just going to cut this into steaks like I said. This here is the thickest end. You can see it's got some decent marbleization, not a lot. And there is some fat cap on here, but on these steaks, they're so high quality of meat, you know, you want to leave this on until you cut your steaks. I know I showed you before where I cut this off and do all that. We don't do this. And also I wanted to say at the end of the video, I also made a short little clip showing the weight before I opened the cryovac bag this time, so I can show you the actual weight before and after. And the 14.5 actually measured out to be 0.90. So where it said 13.82, we actually had 13.90. But that's included in the bag and the cryovac. And to do the math on that, it's really simple. You take the 14.5 and divide it by 16, because 16 ounces is 1 pound. And that gives you the actual decimal point factor. So if you get confused and you're looking at it, that's the way you do it. I always hesitate sometimes on my scale because it shows a colon and then it shows 14.5, when the reality is it's, you know, you round up and just say 13.15, or it's 13 pounds 15 ounces. And again, if you took the 15 and you round it up and did 16, you might come up with even a little bit higher. But that's how that works. Just for the math, the people that need to know the math. So you can see the fat cap will trim afterwards. And so we're just gonna, this actually doesn't look too bad. You know, if you look like that, usually we'd square it up. I kind of like how that looks. Maybe we'll do the other side. And we'll turn this around. See how that looks. And you can see if you look down the side here, there's a little bit of a belly. Like I said, I always do the knife thing. You can see it's rounded. So what we'll do is we'll just save that for, you know, some quick little ground meat, or some, just throw it on the frying pan. But I'm just going to square up this belly, take that out of the whole thing. You know, look at that. That's some good marbleization in there. And again, this is better meat. So when we're doing that chuck roll, you know, you don't want to pull on that. But this, you can see how dense the meat is, how nice it is. You know, and you'll see that through all the steaks is fat. And we'll just trim that off. We want about that much. So this is pretty good. If you get a little bit of too much hard fat that likes to leaf apart like that, you know, you want to probably remove that. But that being said, this is a good piece right here, just for whatever, whenever. Okay, so we're going to set this aside off camera, and then we'll go ahead and cut. These indents you see here, that's from where they removed the bone. You know, bones are awesome for flavoring or the cook, and then, you know, use the bone marrow or even add to stews and stuff. But when you're trying to just buy meat and save money, in this case, you really don't want to use too much of those, because it's saving money. You're paying for the bone. So I always look for as least fat as possible as well, because you're paying for that fat. Well, the fat's great for rendering. You know, it's wasted money. I'm working on another pastrami right now. Got a really nice one, very little fat, and it's heavier than the last one we did the video on. So that's going to be in 2 weeks. I'll make another video on that one, show you how it comes out. Maybe do a couple little different things with them. Maybe some pastrami bacon. That's pretty good stuff there. So without further ado, you make what you want. Like I said in my other videos, I'm going to say now, you can do medium steaks, thin steaks. But when you think of the New York strip, I don't think of a very thick steak, you know, like a thick ribeye. I think of, you know, something that's medium thick. And you have to remember, when you cook these things, they're going to definitely plump up a little bit anyway. So if I wanted to start maybe right here, something like this, I think right here. So right here, I'm thinking we'll cut maybe a few thick, a few mediums, but we'll go with this, about a ½ inch. And you just want to keep that knife blade straight as you can. And again, it don't have to be perfect, but there you go. Look at that beautiful steak. You can see the marbleization. The other thing is, if you stick this in the freezer for a little bit, like maybe 20-30 minutes, and cut it, it makes it easier, because everything will stay stiff. This just came right from the store when we started making this video. So in this case, we already have that nice cold meat, like I've also discussed before, and we don't have to worry too much about it congealing on us, because we're not going to waste time. I already feel like I'm talking too much, so Go through this. Just start stacking meat. Alright. So look down your blade, keep it straight as you can. And if you don't, who cares? You're the one eating it. As you can see, when we're looking at this fat, and I showed you how to use fat lines to pull apart meat, you don't see that here because that's not what this is. This is just premium beef. So you're going to end up with a premium product, and you just cut this stuff up. Okay, so now I intentionally want to make one a little thicker because I want a couple of those like that. Just when you're having a nice little meal, you know, sometimes you want something other than just a thin steak. So you can see that's nice. Now the bottom looks thicker than it is. See, that's actually the side profile. So that one's probably, I'd say about well, that's about an inch. So it's about an inch wide steak. I'm going to set this out to the side. I'll straighten my meat up again with my knife. And then I'm going to make another thick cut right here. And you know, you might want them all the same. You might want thinner steaks to what I'm considering my thin ones in my mind. And make how you want it. So we're going to go back. Cut me some thinner steaks now. Some really hard fat here. Doesn't want to. You can see I'm using the weight of the meat. Just really didn't want to go through. So these are going to be a couple of my thinner ones. You can do whatever you want with it. Like I said, you might even get a bunch of skinny ones out and be happy with that. There's some really hard fat on this backside. I'm going to tell you why I know that, because I've sharpened this knife twice really well, and you can see it. Alright, so continuing on. Square that up. I make these videos long for you guys so you can see what I'm doing. I'm not perfect either. I'm just cutting steak. That blade is sharp as hell. That's just a good chunk of fat down there, you can see. You know, as we're coming to this end, you can kind of see how this is tapering out. So you probably at the very end, we can just take that edge off and make another good square steak out of it. But bottom line, there we go. There's a nice one there. And then this one's probably just going to end up in, I'd say right about there. It's a decent steak. You can see that nice meat there, and then we got that cap on that piece. You can leave it like that if you wanted to, or you can trim it up. If I pull out my good old little trusty here, you can just take a look where you want to cut it. Got some extra fat there too. So if I just that fat is extremely thick. That fat's already coming off, so we're just going to pull it. It's the end piece anyway, so it doesn't really matter. And you can see how it's still thick there. Like I said, you can leave it. I get some OCD with this stuff. I just like it. You can see how it's slicing into that meat like butter. It's just that thick fat. Okay. And we got that. That's it. So if I wanted to trim some of this up, that's why I brought this one out. I'm going to go through, trim these up, start with this guy. You can see there's some good hard fat there. There's still some belly left in that too, but I'm not going to worry about that. And the fat that's on there is pretty minimal at this point. I got most of it off already. So we don't like them that lean. I like a little more fat normally on them. But in this case, you're just going to go back through and you're going to look at all these steaks and see what you want to do with it. You know, look at some pretty hard fat there. That ain't going to do you anything. So just remove that. That top fat's fine. You know, like 1/4 inch is what you want on there. You know, you can, like I said, do whatever you want. But these are pretty nice. That fat that was on there from the butcher. This got some meat in it, so like that one there, the other one was just all fat. We can leave that there. And you can just leave that piece just like that. So again, we'll just go through and inspect all these. You got a chunk of hard fat there. But you know, it looks like pretty good, like it fits. But if you want, I'll just show you. There's your meat, you know, I mean, so just cut it off. You need a little bit, but you don't need a whole chunk like that. I mean, look at this. That ain't going to do anything. It's not going to render like you expect it to, or you want it to. I think that's pretty good, decent. What do you think? It looks good. So, again, you got that big old knob. Just trim it a little bit, and you can use all this for tallow later. Some good tallow right there. Again, this is pretty good. You got some fat, some meat on the outside there. I really like how that one looks. That looks really beautiful. So, my high pile of steak fell over, so we're kind of out of order now, but that's okay. These are not the thick ones. These are medium thick. And you can see what's really happening here is this fat's letting this side ride a little higher. You got this fat on the outside. If you wanted to take this piece off, you could. I think I will, because it's just extra fat on the outside of my line of fat, on the fat cap. I'll just trim that off. Maybe a little bit here, just to shape it some. And that's it. You can see how beautiful those look. You know, this is some good stuff. All New York strips. This has a nice meat in it and nice line of fat. Look at that. It's beautiful. So we're gonna leave that one the way it is. This one, I got some really hard fat right there. It's like cement almost. But you know, again, it looks decent. Why cut into that and ruin that pretty line? But you know, you're not gonna eat that anyway. But you can leave it. It's pretty. And then here's another piece with some hard fat on it. As you see, it's all one giant whole piece, but you can see how the fat varies all along the same side of the animal. So we just took that chunk off. Same here. See that? Ain't gonna do anything for you. I mean, unless you like to eat the fat. Some of the bodybuilders and stuff do. So I'll just put that in that cap pile. Now the fat, like I've said before, tallow, you know, it's actually healthy for you. Went on all these seed oils. You know, it's a big thing right now. Get rid of those. It's true. We all fell for it. We all were listening to what they told us was good. But the truth is, everybody's going back to tallow because it actually is healthy. And you know what the truth is? It tastes good too. So these are just slightly thicker. I just made some slightly thicker steaks. The two I was talking about earlier. Set that up out of the way. So none of this is going to hurt you, and if you are bodybuilding or doing whatever you're going to do, you're fine. So this is already a beautiful piece. As you see, there's no real big cap in the end. So these are my two thick ones here, and then I have my other little side piece. This has actually worked out to be a nice little steak, better than the in cap one I made. And let's put that here, and we'll put all this here. So you can get a shot, see what we got. So I think I stacked 3, 6, 9, 12, 14 steaks. plus, I'm going to say that's about 3/4 of a pound or so of fat, hard fat. So that'll be good for the tallow for later. We got tallow bags made up, so we'll make a little tallow bag for this as well. And we'll get all these steaks all wrapped up, and I'll show you the final weights on all those. Of course, those, well, I'll do both. I'm going to do actually on, like I did before, on the butcher paper. And then I'll also do on the, in the bag to show the difference on weight. Since I've been talking about it so much, just to break it all down for you guys so you can understand what we ended up with at the end of the day, an actual edible meat versus the fat content, which as you see here is really good. We got some really beautiful steaks here. So I guess that's it. So the next part you'll see is going to be the weights. All right, so we have 2 pounds 12 ounces for the first 3 steaks we had cut. So I know those are the first 3. Okay, 2 pounds 7 ounces for the next 3 cuts. These are all the thin cuts. Okay, so this is 2.1. This is all the end caps, and I think it's a thinner steak I cut at the end there too. Okay, these are the medium thick, 3 pounds 2 ounces. So just over 3 pounds, 3 steaks, medium thick. So 2 pounds 6 ounces roughly. These are the thick cut. There's just 2 of those. That's why it's lighter. Otherwise it'd be well over 3. Okay, so 10 ounces for the fat. So for those wondering, that works out to 0.625. So I was close. I said maybe 3/4, just under. So that's what it was of actual tallow we can render. Okay, so as you see, 3 pounds 2.5 ounces, and it was 3 pounds 2 ounces. So that's very minimal, but it does add up. So it's important to know the difference. But I just thought I'd show you so you know. Okay, so this is our 2-pack thick steaks, and it was originally 2.6, and it just added 0.3, so not much, very minimal. This one was 2.1, and we're at 2.15, so it's a 3-pack thin steaks. I think actually these were the end cap ones and the other pieces. Same here, 3 steaks, 2.7, now it's 27.3. All right, so this one is 0.7, and it was 2.12 originally, so 0.7 difference with the weight of 3 steaks. These were the first ones we did, and sorry, I did everything backwards. Usually I do it all in order, but that's the case here. Okay, so 10.4, and it was originally 10 ounces. So again, you add all that bag weight, and it does add up to a little bit. So I will do a voiceover at the end of the video. I'm going to show you all the meat together here in a second and tell you what the number was, because if I do it and go to my calculator, I'm going to lose the video. So hold on. Okay, so without further ado, here is our steak. All New York. Not usually a New York guy, but I just like to make these videos for you. There's an overall shot. So I'll show the pictures at the end too. $182 and change on this meat, and it's good quality meat. So hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll be adding some voiceovers and pictures at the end, plus a little video with the overall weight from the beginning. Thanks for watching. So this time I weighed it before I opened it with the Cryovac seal, 1314.5, so almost 14 pounds, and it says 13.82. So that's a sticker they put on it because they get it from the butcher this way. Just weigh your meat, check it, make sure it's accurate. So anyhow, that's the deal. So when we pull it out and weigh all the final cut weights, we'll go from there. So as you can see, the Cryovac weight was 13.82 pounds. Ended up being 1 pound of loss with the blood in the Cryovac, but the actuality was 1.08, since my scale was weighing at 13.90 overall in actuality. So there's the 1 pound and 0.27 ounces in bag weight.